The idea of a greatest hit is that anyone that we work with, it could be a landscaper, a psychotherapist, a roofer, if they do good work, the point of digital marketing is an amplifier of that. It's not that we're coming up with new ideas. It's not that we're trying to implement new technology. It's not that we're trying to do what other people are doing. It's not that there's any kind of magic involved, but we're merely amplifying what's working well. So I'm going to show some real examples, living proof, just from the last even few hours. So the last 2 days, I have been with Dr. George Pratt. Now, Dr. George Pratt is probably not the most internet, social media kind of person, but what we see is that he is technically a San Diego psychologist, licensed doctor. But if you look him up, you'll see that he is super well known for working with some of the top celebrities with hypnosis. And probably the biggest one is Rob Dyrdek, who was initially a skateboarder, now is a mogul with tons and tons of entrepreneurs. So if we look at Rob Dyrdek and how Rob became a big deal, you could see that he came from, if I can find it on this one here.
This is before my time. This is MTV.
So Rob credits his success to George. And let's see if I can find some of these other ones. So the idea is we're mining for the greatest hits, and they often can be a long time ago, right? And there's story after story about how Rob and other well-known folks were hypnotized by Dr. George Pratt to become ultra successful. And a lot of this was from a long time ago, right? Which has driven a lot of referrals. We were just on Amazon a little earlier today with two of the people that run the marketing for George. And this applies to everybody. I want people to see this. You don't have to be a celebrity, right? This book, Hyper Performance, 2009. Code the Joy, which is his main one, 2013. 298 reviews, 5 stars, right? And he basically is talking about how hypnosis is not a one-shot, fix everything deal. It's going back to figuring out the things that are holding people back. Maybe a childhood trauma, maybe something that causes them to have low self-esteem, because when you don't feel like you deserve something, or if there's some kind of guilt, this will cause you to procrastinate or cause you to not do the thing that you know you should be doing, right? So procrastination is not an issue of motivation. And he goes into that here. And he's got tons and tons of people that basically attest to him as a high-end hypnosis, psychology, energy healing kind of guy. And if you read the reviews, you'll see, right? Other psychologists, other people, other energy and hypnosis people talk about this. But rather than him making a video saying, hey, you know, I'm Dr. George Pratt. If you want to pay me a lot of money, then I will hypnotize you. That's making claims. You can't do that as a medical doctor. So instead, take the greatest hits, show where his patients are talking about him. So that way he's not making any claims. He's not the one having to, I mean, I think it's just distasteful in general to talk about yourself, right? Let your clients do the work for you. So there's so much proof of this where we look at who Dr. George Pratt has been with and who his clients are, who he's worked with. You'll see so many of these other people. You see these 4 books. You'll see, you know, John Assaraf has interviewed him. Other people have had him on his shows, on their shows. And just 2 hours ago, we launched $1-a-day ads on 2 of his books for $5 a day. Why do we know it's going to work? Because Amazon is going to take, so here we look at this Code the Joy book. We'll see people also look at emotional healing, hyper performance. People also look at, you know, it could be Jack Canfield, you know, self-help, overcome smoking, you know, overcome laziness, become successful, all of these things. And so Amazon's good at making these recommendations. Now, do you notice this? See the sponsored, these people are running ads. So it literally took us 10 minutes to set up ads to promote his books. And it's not because we're trying to drive book sales. It's that when people see George Pratt show up alongside other related items that they are buying or not buying or checking out, it creates that kind of influence. So when we have on YouTube, Rob Dyrdek was hypnotized for success. Okay, let's see.
This stuff and
listen to what he has to say.
But I also just partied so much, right? Like, what if I'm not a pro skateboarder anymore, right? He wrote this book, Hyper Success, and my friends there, I take my wife there, initial, you know.
So he's going on, this is basically a 6-minute testimonial for Dr. George Pratt on how this guy, Rob Dyrdek, was getting older as a skateboarder and thought this was the end of his career. And that was actually the beginning. And he ended up building this media empire of tons and tons of companies. Oops. And sold his last company 4 years ago for $300 million. And he gives all the credit to George Pratt, right? So George doesn't have to do any boasting. He doesn't have to do any marketing because you can see his career progression. He's the same age as me. We're both born in 1974. And see that when he first started working with Dr. George, he was a skateboarder getting shoe sponsorships from DC Shoes. But then he really started to grow, and there's video after video of Rob talking about this, right? But because he didn't leverage his greatest hit, his whole business has grown through referrals, grown through just general word of mouth, and which has nothing to do with digital. So even though he has some of these components, some of these books, let's see if I can find some of these other parts where he just basically gives all credit to George.
Wow. It's some fearless shit.
I went to a test to stop biting my nails and it worked for a week, and then I haven't been able to stop biting my nails the last 20 years. So I don't know what
Let's go a bit further.
hypnotist is what I need right now.
Clear long-term goals. So I ended up in sort of this state where I don't really question much and sort of attract all of the things that I need to perpetuate before me.
So he has a number of great examples, of which Rob, I think, is the best example of somebody who credits all his success publicly multiple times, right? That's what you want as a client like that. So in the last 2 days, because Rob, if you look at his website, it's kind of weak. I mean, it shows this part here, a little bit of hypnosis. Yeah, he's spending time with Snoop Dogg and these other celebrities, right? This guy Drama went from nothing to very successful. This part shows the hypnosis of this guy Drama, right? It shows there's free courses. It shows, the books. And this is what you would expect out of this website. But this website carries no power. It doesn't rank on anything. The links don't carry any power, right? Because he wasn't running dollar a day, because his digital plumbing wasn't in place, because if you look at his Facebook, he's got a personal Facebook and he's got a public figure page. But you can see there's very little that's occurring here, right? The posts, there's like nothing here, right? And the other George Pratt has nothing there. I think it might be under Dr. George Pratt, maybe.
Does he not have a knowledge panel?
Does he not have what?
A knowledge panel? I don't think I saw that.
I've been working on that. Yeah. So you can see here, right? This is called a quote card. This is a quote with a picture, and it's very easy to do because you just mix and match quotes and pictures, right? Quotes and pictures. But this carries no authority. It has no EEAT, no real experience shown here. Expertise, authority, or trust, right? Quote card. None of these, anybody can do this. Oh, Maya Angelou said this, but that doesn't mean anything, right? This doesn't mean anything. Now, this is a little bit better because, hey, I got the pleasure to speak at this guy's mastermind. Okay. So, but still, there's no real story here. At least it's gratitude, right? So this guy, George Pratt, is very good at what he does, but his marketing is not very good, right? So what we did was we started looking for his knowledge panel. And so we built a tool that helps look for this in the Knowledge Graph Explorer, Google's tool. So we can type in this into our tool and see all the other George Pratts. There's a lot of George Pratts, but most of these other George Pratts are some other George Pratt. It's painter, right? And these are all different IDs of different George Pratts, and they're all mixed together because Google's confused on who George Pratt is. I'll click on any one of them. Look, here's one. Film character, this George Pratt in this film, North to Alaska, also had these other people in this film. And people also ask related to the film, right? This one actor, right? George Pratt. Okay. Well, that's the wrong George Pratt. This guy's probably dead. 1901, he's probably dead. Let's see. One of these other George Pratts. This is this other George Pratt artist guy. And this is not the George Pratt we have, right? Here's this artist, George Pratt. This is our actual George Pratt. This is our George Pratt. This is not. So there's so many George Pratts, and they're all kind of mixed together. Now, George Pratt, our George Pratt is actually Dr. George Pratt. And here's a local panel that shows up. You can see here, clinical psychologist in San Diego. But, you want to have a full knowledge panel show up for George Pratt or Dr. George Pratt. There's only 20 searches a month on this anyway, so we should be able to dominate for this. So if we do $1 a day, which we just launched, we spent $5 a day on hyper performance, $5 a day on Code the Joyce. We're spending $10 a day. That's going to get us more than 20 searches on his name to be able to get him more high-end, in-person, private client hypnosis clients, right? And that will drive people to the website. So what we need to do is use social media and YouTube and all that to drive people to the website so they can fill out the form to find out more about appointments and what's it like working with Dr. Pratt to overcome, or, to be more successful as a business person, or overcome self-worth, or he's coached all these top athletes. Like Phil Mickelson's a client of his, right? Phil Mickelson's a famous golfer. The guy's played who knows how many rounds of golf. His joke is that he's beat Phil Mickelson in golf on one hole, one time, right? So it's not that the website is weak, it's that the other information that brings people to the website is weak. So we've just launched some of these campaigns. And then just a few minutes ago, I don't think it's even uploaded to my Google Photos, it's still on my phone. We recorded a bunch of these videos just here in La Jolla, just a few feet from where I am. We recorded these videos right here. I'll stop the share on the screen so you can see. And this is Anthony, who's a client of George Pratt, talking to Dr. George about what it's like being a client, and talking about hypnosis and talking about what's possible, right? And this is way more powerful than, the kind of canned testimonial video that you might get. And then instead of having like Rob is a good friend and would do anything for George. So instead of having Rob make a testimonial, which there's tons of testimonials already on social media. Rob's got like 9 million followers on Instagram or whatever it is. Instead, I said, let's have Rob do a shout out saying, because what Rob's been saying is we got to get George on Instagram, right? Because he needs to get into, Facebook and Instagram and all that. So I said, have Rob make a post saying, hey, everybody, let's get my hypnotist to get on Instagram. So everybody make a post and tag George, right? Tag Dr. Pratt. That's going to drive traffic. That's way more valuable than testimonial. Then let's have Anthony interview Dr. George and talk about what's it like being a client. Talk about coming to La Jolla and why they live in La Jolla. Talk about the seagulls that steal your ice cream and French fries, right? Because that's going to be more powerful than saying, oh, I've had the honor of being featured on these TV shows and I'm the guy that Rob Dyrdek gave the credit to for his massive success. So when Dr. Pratt says, today, I just wanted to share my gratitude for my buddy Rob and his amazing success. That carries way more power than him talking about himself. And so I had him make this video right here, just now.
I just want to start again.
See, and it's okay to restart, right?
Done together, everything we've done, and you've introduced tools to lots of other people that are very pleased, and we've really enjoyed our working together.
And that's just an honest sort of video. Let's check the sound quality on that initial video, which is 9 minutes with Anthony. See this?
And helping us grow as a company.
See, even though it's noisy outside, this is great.
It's great to see where you, in a short period of time, to be empowered, creative ideas, and shining even more brightly than you were when we started this morning.
Thank you. Yeah, and we've been blessed with the opportunity to work with Dr. Pratt in person here in La Jolla on the beach.
Nice place.
Yeah. Yep, we've been having a blast.
See, now the lighting is not even perfect. All these things are not even perfect, but that's what makes it so authentic and so real. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. So we have Anthony here too. So Anthony, how would we summarize this technique of finding people who are already very successful, pulling out their greatest hits and running $1 a day against that? What does that mean for someone who doesn't understand the technique here? Because this is art.
In my head,
yeah,
with my training, it's 80-20 to the ultimate power, because you're taking the best of your content and amplifying it. So that's going to get more results than things that aren't your greatest. It's obviously. So, and it's usually the catchiest or has the most plays for a reason, similar to $1 a day. So you've already tested what got the most attention in the past. So you're taking the things that already got the most attention and then doing it again with $1 a day, right? I mean,
that's the beauty, is we're finding existing winners, right? I love winners. Why would I have to come up with new stuff, a new jingle every week, a new idea, a new story? And so the TV stations, they have to come up with a new idea, a new story, about the weather or about the economy or about Joe Biden or whatever it is, versus we're rock stars. Rock stars are here to collect royalties on their greatest hits. So let's see if we can change the camera here. There we are.
oh, cool.
All right, good. Let's check the sound too. All right, very good. Yeah. So I think we got messed up on the link here, so other people can get it, but that's okay. We still record it. That's the beauty of a podcast.
You're using this for your computer too.
Mhm.
Is it because we're on
USB-C.
this camera?
No, we can. We're
because it's right
we're using Zoom right now. We're using my iPhone as the camera. If we switch, by the way, I love using the iPhone as a camera. I just put it on a cheap little tripod, but we could easily switch it to the laptop. And if we look at the laptop, it's not as good, right?
Yeah.
See that? I mean, just compare. And what most people do in Zoom is they're looking at themselves And then you can see that's not establishing eye contact. But if I look in here, now I'm establishing eye contact and it's a completely different experience, right? Because you're connecting with people when you're looking in here. Now, if we switch to the iPhone, which is this, and a $17 selfie tripod, what I do is I take this and I stick it right behind the laptop, and then I switch in Zoom the source to the camera. Now, this is of the 3 cameras, this is the main camera. The second, that's the camera. So now when I want to address the audience,
it's easier to look at that camera than this.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then I know just from doing like podcasts and webinars and whatnot, that I can still see other people in my peripheral vision, but I'm mainly looking in that camera. So I've just, over the years, I've learned, and if you're on TV, you learn to look in the camera instead of on the monitor or the screen to see how your hair is or, whatever it is. Right. But it's so easy because here we're setting up in a restaurant, not in a private area. And the sound is good because we're using the microphones. And this is literally something I carry in my pocket.
Give these to Dr. Pratt.
I know, I forgot to give back to him. But these, these mics or the Rode mics or some cheap $10 mic, this and the iPhone are all we really need. And we have professional audio and video. And I bet that video we just made, which was 9 minutes, will probably be enough to drive his business, because Dr. Pratt moved from having an actual office inside the Scripps Hospital to having his house be the office. That video of you and him, because we're amplifying the greatest hits, because you are a great success story where you've bought 5+ sessions with him, come back multiple times. You fit the mold of the already successful entrepreneur, but who wants to unlock these energy blockages or things that have held you back from procrastinating or, whatever is losing weight, all the things you want to do.
Yeah.
There's so
we're going
many
to have to do a second video with him like in a year from now.
When you're skinny.
When I'm skinny.
And when you're,
and then do it. Yeah. Like this is when Anthony was chubby a year ago. After working with Dr. Pratt, we're working on it. We're going to do a personal training session today. It'll get rid of all my problems. Yeah. And we have a personal trainer who's standing by and wondering when we're going to go out on the beach over there in just a few minutes. But the main point today, because this is we're making content not for the live. We're making content because we know it's going to be repurposed into lots of other pieces. So this content we're making, because co-created content gives us more opportunities, more angles that we can use it. We can use this for your personal brand. So any article or video or whatever, we can point back to your social profiles on your website, which enhances your SEO and your knowledge panel. And of course, then enhances Anthony's Lawn Care and Anthony's Junk Hauling and Anthony's other kinds of companies. It helps Dr. Pratt because it shows to Google and to Facebook and Instagram that these are the kinds of people that Dr. Pratt likes to be associated with. And didn't you say that Google is making sure that you're actually a real person and videos are doing that? Yeah. And Google can see that these videos have been made in La Jolla, and there's people that are coming to La Jolla. His GMB shows his home, business address is La Jolla. Yep. There's the sea lions and the falcon guy that walked by a few times in La Jolla, right? So these are all great signals that show trust on EEAT, that we have real experience. E is the first E's experience. Yeah. So not all clients, of course, because of confidentiality and privilege, for healthcare, can you show all of them, but you don't need all of them. You just need a few of them. So I think what we did today will help him, especially because he has a couple people on his team that will follow our processes to establish the access and all the things that we need and build his personal brand site out and all those things. Set up remarketing, custom audiences, all that kind of stuff. And that's all he really needed because he's already a successful psychologist. Yeah. Because he has great case studies. That's a perfect client to get right there. It is. To help. It is. Because they already have the foundation. Yeah. And the clients that he serves, if you can afford working as a private client with Dr. Pratt, probably can afford our services too. Yeah. For personal branding, if you're a successful entrepreneur. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's good for everybody. So I think us, by wanting to help Dr. Pratt, we didn't charge him for any of this. Right. Right. But that's going to create so much good karma. Yeah. All of us. Yeah. And I've been through this too. Yeah. Where we help out clients and then down the road. Yep. Yeah. And you don't even have to be worried about it. Just like earlier today with 30 minutes warning, you spoke at Perry's little mastermind thing. Yeah. To another tree service company that you happen to hire the wife of to do prayer work for your business. Yeah. And we're going to help this guy's tree service company. We definitely can. Anthony spoke in this mastermind thing, so all these other guys could see Anthony coach this one business owner with a tree service company. And so I already did an audit
while we were doing it live, and even, told the guys in the mastermind, I don't know if it was recorded or not,
It was, yeah.
the things that were broken. And we'll meet with this guy probably the next few days, show him these things that are broken. And of course, his response is going to be, okay, great, I agree. These things are broken. They need to be fixed. Who's going to fix it? Well, probably Parker, Nathanson, Catherine, right?
Hey, thank you for the help the other day on the LSA.
Yeah, no worries. I think that was like one of the main things was just the calls weren't being booked. So now that we have that done, we should see an increase in lead volume.
I was keeping up with it every day. And then we got this colossal storm, worse than any storm that we've ever seen. I feel like Trump, worse than any storm we have ever seen. It was bad. I mean, probably in 20 years.
Wow.
And there's just trees on cars, houses everywhere. And we got behind, but it was only a couple weeks. I know it can be lenient with you a little bit, but I definitely don't want to make a habit of it, letting it go 2-3 weeks without getting updated, because you're saying every 24 hours. So
Thanks for jumping in too.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah, thank you. That was cool.
So let's set up the LSAs for junk calling. I don't know if there's one for artificial turf, but we can still do it, all the Google ads and everything for that, and all the related sorts of businesses
Yeah,
that tie. So, because if you're doing tree service, that ties to everything, to landscaping, to pool companies, to
I'll
garage,
show you.
everything.
when you log into our Google business profile,
Yeah.
there's a tab for junk calling already,
Okay.
and we can click that. But we have you just go through the steps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those are all, Anthony's got a book on micro businesses. You basically have like how many micro businesses?
4 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's grow all of those. And then let's grow up an agency. Maybe Mr. Parker can mentor Catherine if Catherine wants to do this, for real, right? All in.
Yeah, she has clients of her own, obviously, but
Yeah.
if I learn the ins and outs, which I will,
Yeah.
through all your courses with these businesses, and then can help others, that'd be cool. I have to
Yeah.
learn other skills too.
Yeah. The thing I'm super
Yeah.
proud of, Anthony, is you were saying that you wanted to spend the next couple of years just going in deep
Yeah.
in these courses and implementing.
Yeah, and not starting a marketing agency probably for 3 or 4 years, really, because
Yeah.
I want to do it for these businesses that I
You
already
want to do it
know.
for your own business first.
Learn it through and through.
Yeah.
Work with you guys. Then, if I'm ready, then maybe have it as something, because then we know it. I'll know it through and through.
And you have way more credibility. You'll be like a Tommy Mello
Yeah.
because you've grown your business, and everyone else in home services can see that. And they want what you have. They're like, wow, Anthony went like this. And then we publish a book under your name.
Yeah. Which we're doing just for landscaping now, but then we can do it for
Exactly.
home service
Because
owners.
as you're doing that,
whatever, yeah.
you're going to meet the Anthonys of all the other businesses
Yeah.
and have them on your podcast. And that helps their SEO and your SEO at the same time.
It's all
For
these
everybody.
beneficial
Yeah.
in every way.
It really is
I love
synergistic,
that.
not
Yeah.
in a sort of self-help synergist, the universe multiplies thing, but in a practical, we can prove the SEO and social media and traffic.
through the
impact we're
algorithm.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's who you're associated with.
Yep.
EEAT is nothing more than another way of saying you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Are you in Vegas?
I'm not. I'm in Tampa. I'm in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, that's cool. One of my, he's a professional poker player. He'll just randomly end up there for a year sometimes because he plays at, I forget what the casino is, but he'll play tournaments forever.
Yeah.
He'll just, so I've been to Tampa to visit him in the past. It was fun.
It's great. And I know Dennis is flying everywhere, but if you want, I'd be happy to come out to Indiana and we can film some videos too.
Oh, anytime. And I'll come down there too. Yeah.
Yeah. We got a lot of stuff we want to do in Indiana. So let's pick a couple days.
Yeah.
Make it happen. It'll be good learning and doing for everybody. Yeah. I want to get the framework of our book in place. I know our team almost has kind of the core training around this whole content factory and our whole 6-phase thing. I think we're arguably a week or 2 away from having something there, and then documenting with Anthony's examples. So it's the same book for everybody, but for Anthony's business, it'll have Anthony's examples, proof that we've gone through all the phases,
Mhm.
right?
You've seen the chart for our LSA since you guys helped with that,
Yeah.
right?
But I don't want to look at just the LSA. I want to look at every component of the business. I want to be able to say, like, if anybody looks at your stuff and says, like, yep, check, 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 check. We never want to sell anything we haven't
Done.
done ourselves.
Yeah.
That looks bad. Yeah. So we need to make sure that happens.
Yeah, you're awesome, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree with what so I'm 37, so I've been around the block a little bit. So I'm looking at all these business models, looking at how much can you make with your own agency, how much can not even just make, but how much of an impact can you have and make with Dennis. And I've tried to have talks with some people that Dennis has worked with in the past. Anyway, I even told him this morning, I'm like, we can do the agency, but I'm like, dude, in the future, I can also just work for you guys too. I don't care. Like if I sold my landscape company and I just needed something to do and to be maybe semi-retired, even though I'd probably still do marketing work 60 hours a week because I like to work, but
And you like helping other people.
yeah, yeah.
And you see other people that where their problems, like this other guy with the landscaping business, you already know what his issues are, but he doesn't know them because he hasn't run down that path before.
I wish that he would, if he just had 2 mowing crews and you have clients prepay, it's like a 0 interest loan that you actually make a little bit of money on.
Yeah.
Because you don't make that much money mowing lawns, but it just helps your cash flow so much in the dead of winter.
Yeah.
Because in January and February, so we were talking to this guy with the tree company today. He didn't seem interested in that at all, but there's still different campaigns you can run during the fall to say, hey, winter it's objectively the best time to trim your trees, and then pre-book if you can be proactive in a lot of ways. But we were talking with them about getting prepayments for mowing clients because we do that in January and February, and the cash flow, that way we stay even instead of just taking this nosedive in the winter. And then we do tree work all winter too.
And you keep your staff instead of having
yeah.
to lose them and get them, have to rehire people.
And there's a compounding effect with that.
Yeah.
It's huge because everyone already knows your systems and processes. Instead of training all new people every single year, it's worth them to just keep making more as long as you're growing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I'm sure it's the same with you guys. So
Compounding by having in-house teams and how you're treating team members where they get a piece of the pie. I really like that.
yeah. Yeah.
So they have incentive to stay. So it's not just the hourly, they feel like an owner, just like a grocery store I like nearby called Winco.
Mm.
They're 100% employee owned, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And
So we do that, but we're not technically,
Yeah.
we're not legally that, but we're
Yeah.
doing our best to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phantom equity, that kind of thing.
Costco kind of does it, right?
Yeah.
Where if you're working there, you're making $27 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Awesome. Well, I don't think we have any audits today, but I appreciate you guys. I think we're going to go work out. Trainers wondering.
He's going to kick my ass. I might pass out.
Well, we worked out so hard, one of our friends did pass out a few
Yeah, he
days ago,
did.
So.
Did you hear about
Really?
that, Parker?
Wait, in Vegas?
Yeah.
Did he dunk on too many 11-year-olds or how'd that
No, it
happen?
wasn't trampoline park. I have Carson Teagarden is my personal trainer, and he's got 750,000 subs on YouTube and all that. And he live walks us through exercise, like he's through Zoom.
All calisthenics.
Yeah, we're going through all these different exercises, and
Which sucks for me
it's a butt kick.
because I'm 30 pounds overweight. So calisthenics is terrible.
Yeah.
But so one of the guys with us, it scared the shit out of me.
No, anytime someone passes out next to you,
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh.
and he was shaking.
Yeah. He was okay.
Dennis has so much energy. He like
I
outruns
know.
me.
I was like, what the hell? At the
I'm
trampoline
like,
park.
"How great. How is this
I was like drenched in sweat and he was still just like doing 360 dunks. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
I'm gonna try to go there tonight, and
Does he know about your mile time for Mr. 407?
I don't know,
He ran a 407 mile.
a long time ago.
Can you believe that, man? That's nuts.
insane?
I thought my 432 was so cool. I was like, yeah, I ran a
But I
432
didn't want
mile.
to say it.
And then he's like, I ran a 407. I was like, oh,
But I feel like it doesn't count unless you're under 4 minutes.
no.
Because what I could
407.
do, I could run 3 laps in 3 minutes. Because
Oh, damn.
basically you do, 59 seconds, 60 seconds, and then maybe like 61. So it ends up being like 60, 60, 60. That's what
That
it
last
averages out
lap
to.
is
But the last lap, I can't, if I could run that last lap in 60 seconds, I could have a 4-minute mile.
ooh, that would have been so cool.
And you know what the difference is? It doesn't seem like 7 seconds doesn't seem like a lot, right?
It's eternity then.
But when everyone else is finishing, I'm still coming around the corner
Oh, man.
because they're like 3:53.
And now those
So
are
they're-
your friends.
They're 14 seconds ahead of me. They're a quarter lap ahead of me, right? So when they're at the finish line, I'm still coming around into the last 100 meters.
See, I told him in
That's
Indiana,
how slow I
he
am.
would have almost won state where I'm from because California, yeah.
In Indy, but I'm thinking because I've run against these guys that run low 350s, and I'm thinking that by the time I finish, they're already over. They're 100 meters ahead of me. Where am I going to make up that 100 meters?
Yeah.
Right? Am I going to run faster in the first lap? Am I going to?
Then you burn out if you do that.
Yeah, and you need to have a fast start anyway because you don't want to be caught, out in the third lane or something like that. So
That's psychologically
what ends
bad.
up happening is you have to be able to run the last lap in 60 seconds.
Yep.
And the only way to do that is you have to be really strong. And the only way to be that strong is you have to have a 100-mile-a-week base.
Gosh, damn.
So if you don't run a 100-mile-a-week base, you don't have enough to build for your strength training to sit on top of.
100 miles a week is insane.
But most people, like us trying to run the 100-mile, because I did that. 100-mile base, but then I got injured a bunch of times.
Dude, it took
But-
me, I ran like 400 miles in 3 months.
But with folks like Kipchoge, who's the current fastest marathoner in the world, who holds the Olympic world record, I guess, or he's the only person in the world to run sub-2 in the marathon.
Jeez.
He is, I believe it, he's running 160, 170 miles a week.
What's your record, Parker?
Oh, maybe like 8 minutes a mile. Nothing like maybe
For miles running a week.
I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. It sucks because I went to a super small high school and we didn't like have a track field. So we didn't like, we weren't
Might
really.
be 30 or 40, not 100.
I run 70 in one day.
Good Lord.
I set the course. No, I was just off the course record by a little bit.
I might die at this
Yeah.
right now.
We could bike 70.
Hey, I'm going to have to drink water before this or I will pass out.
Yeah, go get some. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
See what they,
All right. Well, I think we're gonna take
Hey,
off.
it was awesome seeing you,
Good to see you,
man.
Parker.
Good to see you guys. Bye-bye.
Good stuff. All right, I'll see you.